Welcome to Hanukkah and End Times. We're going to look at the hidden prophetic aspect of Hanukkah and how that helps us understand Bible prophecy. This is going to be an 8-part special series for Hanukkah. My name's Enoch Lavender and I'm from Olive Tree Ministries and have been teaching the Jewish background of our faith for the past 10 years. So is Hanukkah the Jewish Christmas? Well, it's the same time of year, roughly, sometime in December each year. It features 8 days of presents, much like Christmas, perhaps even competing with Christmas. Lights, candles, songs, so much in common. But like Christmas, the message of Hanukkah is often hidden by the commercialization of the holiday. And so we want to dive in and better understand Hanukkah, because as we do, we'll come to better understand the New Testament. Hanukkah and Christianity. I believe Hanukkah forms a real key for us to understand the Bible, a real key for us to understand the New Testament. And if you don't have this key, much of what the New Testament says will be harder to understand. It's only mentioned once directly in the New Testament, and that's when Jesus was walking in a temple, and it says it was the Feast of Dedication. But we're going to see how this story is referred to many times. It forms the background for the food sacrificed to idols controversy, which was such a big issue for the disciples and the early believers. The Sabbath conflicts, some of the key principles came out of the story of Hanukkah, and this is what Jesus draws on as he teaches in his day and in his age. The unnamed heroes of Hebrews 11, we're going to see refer, at least some of them, back to the story of Hanukkah. And we're going to be inspired by the martyrs and the heroes of this particular story. Now, if there was no Hanukkah, there would be no Christmas. The events of Hanukkah had the nation of Israel on the edge, and if it hadn't been for the heroes, the Jewish heroes who stood firm for their faith in a very dark time, the nation would have been destroyed, the knowledge of the Bible would have been destroyed, Bible prophecy, the scrolls, it all would have been gone. And by the time Jesus came, about 160 years later, there would have been a nation with no knowledge of the Bible, no knowledge of the Scriptures, and no knowledge of the coming Messiah. So the events of Hanukkah were absolutely crucial, and we're going to look more at this. Hanukkah also gives us a preview of the end times. The events of Hanukkah occurred around 175 to 164 BC and are described by Bible scholars as the clearest, the absolute clearest prophetic foreshadowing of the end times, of the tribulation, of the Antichrist, found in all of recorded history. So we need to study it to better understand the end times. Jesus and Paul repeatedly refer to Hanukkah in their end time teachings. It forms the backdrop, it sets the framework for the expectation as Jesus and Paul spoke. Jesus and Paul drew on imagery from Hanukkah, which would immediately have carried an image to the Jewish people. If you today were to talk to someone from Israel and to say something about gas chambers and the Nazis, that would immediately have a very clear picture in the mind of any Jewish person. Because the events of the Holocaust are still fairly recent and people remember the trauma of what happened. In the same way, the story of Hanukkah was highly traumatic for the nation of Israel, and Jesus and Paul referenced key aspects of that story and basically said it's going to come again. And anyone who was listening to their teaching would have understood very, very clearly what they were referring to. So we need to understand Hanukkah coming from an outside perspective of someone who has not heard of this. I grew up not knowing anything about it, and as I began to study it, it has helped me better understand the Bible, and I want to give that to you in this 8-part series. So we'll be unveiling the story of Hanukkah and its mysteries in these next few days. So future episodes, Hanukkah and the Great Backsliding, Hanukkah, the eerily accurate prophecies of Daniel, Hanukkah and the Great Tribulation, Hanukkah and sacrificial food, Hanukkah and end time heroism, Hanukkah and the abomination of desolation. So if you want to follow us in this series, please subscribe to us on YouTube and stay tuned, because we are going to upload a new episode of this each day of Hanukkah this year. Thank you so much, and God bless you.